Hey, it's Phil. I'd like to talk with you about using feedback. We've received it, we've made sense of it. How do we actually use it? Well, to state the obvious, we use it. Like this is kind of a difficult one because the biggest thing is you have to actually use the feedback you receive. Not all of it, we reject some of it, but when you get to the point where you're like, I want to put this into action, this is useful to me, you gotta use it. One of the first things we do when we're using is we go, where can I apply this? And the first thing we think is within this work. And that's really important. Quite often you'll get feedback comments that address a certain section of a piece of work that you've done. And it's up to you to go, I should probably apply the comments I've received here across all of it. I have to tell you, this is a real pro tip. A lot of people never actually come around to this idea that when you get a comment, people aren't going to waste their time applying it to everything you've ever written. They're going to leave that up to you. So you think about where else can I apply it in this work. You also might want to think, where can I apply this on a next related task? If you're a student studying a course, you might be thinking, well, I've had feedback on a first assignment. There's a second assignment coming around. The same person's going to mark it. You might be thinking, yes, I will apply this feedback to that next task. But you also might think somewhere else in my life. You might think similar contexts, some other class I'm studying, or you might think really far away contexts. Someone's told me, say, I don't use a particular word in the correct way. I'm not going to just apply that to my academic writing. I'm going to apply that everywhere. You also want to think, how does it change what quality means? So, picture of coffee there. We all have different ideas of what coffee is. If I make you a coffee, you tell me it's terrible, you tell me it's too bitter, or you tell me it's too acidic, you tell me my latte art sucks. All of this changes my view of what quality coffee is. And with a lot of inputs over time, I develop a really sophisticated understanding of what quality is. This is you with things like academic writing. Over time, we get comments. We don't just improve our work, we also improve that judgment facility in our brains that decides, is this writing good enough? Or we get feedback on what we're doing in a lab setting and we decide what safety quality is, what's good enough to be safe, all sorts of things. So when we get comments, part of our use of the comments is also to have this narrative going in our heads of what is good enough work. And then, most importantly, once we've applied it, we have to be thinking, is my work better now? One thing I always try to do is keep a pre-feedback copy, because I hate to burst your bubble at this stage, but not all feedback and not all of our applications of feedback actually improves our work. Sometimes I go in and I apply some well-meaning feedback to my work and it's just worse. It hasn't worked, or what this one person thought actually isn't as useful as all of my own thoughts in working hard on a piece of work for weeks and weeks. So I try and keep a pre-feedback copy. I then do some before and after checking, this section before, this section after, is it better? I often use track changes for this as well because it's really easy for me to go in and just undo some particular change. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Yes, use feedback. Yes, apply it all you can, but ask yourself, have I made my work better? Thanks so much.